Hey, so I want to show you how we do 30 to 40% more revenue to our clients without spending more on ads. Now we call it SFO, which is standing for full funnel optimization, and it's built by a couple parts. And I want to show you the first part, which is CRO. And CRO stands for conversion rate optimization, if you don't know what it says. Now, before digging in and telling you each step and how we do that, I want to show you a couple of our results. So you can see this is a couple tests that we ran for the past month, and you can see here 6% improvement, 15%, 4%, 45, 9%, 8.9999. We have 3.3% revenue per visitor improvement, 5%, again, a conversion rate 11%, 14%, and etc. Now, right now I showed you like tests that we won, but we also losing tests, and that's okay. And the reason that's okay, again, you learning from that, you understand why did you lose, and you implement those learnings into next test. And apart from that, something about just losing tests is I want to give an example. We had a client that we tried A/B testing for scarcity. Now we did found out that scarcity didn't work for their visitors, and they basically lost this test. So the variant that was with scarcity lost the test. And what we said, hey, you're using scarcity in your A/B, not A/B test, in your methods. Let's try to remove those scarcity elements for your creatives and see how it's performed. And it did perform a little bit better. Now, same thing for meta ads. By the way, if you run A/B testing in your meta ads or like Google ads, and you found out that like specific creative works better, and you can understand why those creatives works better. So let's, for example, you had UGC content and it did perform a little bit better. You can use those knowledge into your website. So let's say UGC content performed better. Let's add UGC to our product page, and you do A/B test, and probably it's not gonna work better because UGC is a nice thing for social proof, but just like general knowledge. Now, if I'm going back here, CRO in general, it's not about just changing button color or adding additional button. It's more about having some kind of data or research some kind of data. And like that's why also, by the way, research is with like a star, and we're gonna go about that. But you research and are gathering data to understand specific idea or specific thing that you want to test out. So let's go back what I said before, that you found out with data that you just see performing better. So you had some kind of data to test it for your hypothesis on the website. Now, research is having multiple ways to gather data. So the first thing is going to be recording. Recording is like the boring way. It's like the most boring thing out of everything, but it's very important to do that. So how we do that in general, we watch not one by one, but we kind of group it up. So we have videos, which is like 5 minutes that we watch. Then we have videos, which is like 10 seconds that we watch. And we want to see like why visitors just staying 10 seconds on your website. If there's something that make them leave. So you're grouping up by specific, I wouldn't say section, but I would segments. And based on that, you watch it. Again, segments can also be country, it can be mobile, it can be desktop. Based on that, you just watch those videos. And after that, we have quantitative data research. So that's basically Google Analytics. You can check your funnels, numbers, the way like how many visitors are living in abandoned rate, how is your bounce rate. So just like a bunch of number, and you're gonna split it into your Google Sheet, or we're using Look Studio for that to have like easy way to understand the numbers. And based on that, you also gather some data to understand like what kind of hypothesis you want to make. Then we have heat maps and user testing. Now, for heat maps is kind of similar to recordings that happens from the visitor side. So you're just gonna see where they click, on what they click, how much they scroll, and what they view in terms of like view in heat map. .com, you have the ability to see like the screen, how many seconds they been there, or how many seconds they watched there. So that's like give you an example. Like if they're reading a description, probably there's gonna be more time on this specific screen. And then based on that, you can understand like, okay, they wanted this information. Let's make out of it as like some kind of a bullet points and put it a little bit up, and you can get this kind of information. Same thing if like you have bullet points and you see that no one kind of stopping there and just reading those bullet points, you can understand maybe those bullet points is not important enough or you shouldn't use them. And the other thing is user testing. User testing is good because you pay different ICPs or like your ICP money to basically visiting your website. And they starting visiting the website, they go over, the scrolling, they just like kind of like almost like visitors, but in the end they give you a report what they think about their experience there. Then we have competitor research, which is like you take your best competitors, you're seeing what they do, and you try this also. Now, you don't take what they do and just implement that. No, you're gonna see what they do and you're gonna A/B test it yourself. And the reason for that is maybe what works for them wouldn't work for you. And there can be like different reasons for that. You can have a competitor that have a little bit like different ICP. Or let's say you in the UK market and your competitor is in the German market, and somehow Germans are responding differently to what like UK visitors gonna respond to. So that's why you should test. Then you have QA and QA, which is question and answers. So you're gonna have like a bunch of questions that you want to ask your client, visitors, people that buy, and you're gonna put it in post-purchase, which is thank you page, and also in your website. And you're gonna gather data that you want, like something that you cannot gather by all of what I just mentioned. You cannot gather it by heat map, you can gather it by recordings. This is data that like your customer just writing to you and like sharing why did he bought this product, or like what almost kept him from not buying that, or etc. So I will give you an example. This supplement, they selling cognitive supplements, which is like a brain supplement, and they've been selling for a long time. Now we had a question like, what would make you most confident in this buying? This is the question here. You can see my mouse on it. And what we found out is that a lot of them want research studies because this is bringing something that like you want to have some kind of trust for that. Like, is it gonna make you more, I don't know, stupid, or it's gonna make you smart? Yeah. So a lot of them just write, yeah, I'm missing some research data, just like convincing me that this is really gonna do good for me or gonna do good for my brain. And based on that, we made just studies with the client. Like he created it, we had like a doctors, etc. Long story short, it's worked for them a little bit better than just not having research studies there. So after that, we have hypothesis, analyzing, and prioritization. So we're using ClickUp. You can use Monday, you can use Asana, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter what's easier for you. By the way, ClickUp, it's like a project management tool. Now, the way how we do that, we give every hypothesis and every finding that we found I score, which is split into impact, confidence, and ease of use. Impact in general is like how much revenue do you think it's gonna make for you? Confidence is like how strong the evidence, like how strong do you think that not do you think, like the research show you that that's gonna have some improvement in your store. So again, if we're gonna go back, like I said, you found out like UGC is performing better in your methods. That's kind of like a strong evidence that you should test it also on your product page. Then we're gonna have ease of use. It's how easy to implement that. So you're gonna ask your designer and you're gonna ask your developer, hey guys, how long gonna take you to do that? So designer can take like say 1 hour, developer can say 2 hours, and then you make like a score out of it. And then you just like start like you put the scores together and you get the average of them by dividing those numbers by 3. And that's it. That's the main reasons like why you want to have a project. And based on that, like your team gonna work on it. Then we're gonna go into design. Now a lot of things what happens, and we did see it happening a lot, also it happened to us before, is that I have an idea, I have a hypothesis, I give the hypothesis to our designer, and what happens is that what I initially had in my head and what the designer did is like completely two different things. And the way how we fix it is that, first of all, we have like much detailed hypothesis and more explaining the thinking behind it and the idea behind that. And the other thing is that we make sure the designer himself, like writing, why did he choose to do it like that? Like in terms of like UX experience, why did you choose, for example, to put it like in this way, the tree specification? Like, why did you choose to do it like that? So this gives us, like, in a way to, first of all, understand his mind and easier to see if that's gonna be connected to my hypothesis. Just a general, like, in design step. And development step, which as I missed, there's nothing to do there. Just make sure your developer would know what he's doing, and you have like a QA that probably testing it mobile, desktop, all devices that you won't have like a false test. And then in the end, we have A/B test. Now, A/B test is, in general, it's a numbers game. Now, something that I did see with our clients that their old A/B tests, they turning them off too too short. I mean, what is too short? Too soon. What it means is that let's say we have 10,000 visitors per month, or like 10,000 visitors. The chance for it, I will say it by conflicts, I think, but in general, the chance for it to show the right data in the start is much less likely than in your 10,000. And why is that? So if we want to take coin flips, we know in general that it's like a 50% chance, 50% chance. But in the start, let's say I'm going to just flip like 3 times. There's a possibility that out of those 3 times, or like out of those 4 times, like 2 times of that gonna be heads. And then we're gonna say, all right, this is like 67% heads. It's meaning that it's not really 50%. It's like it's a lie. But no, it's not a lie. It's just like you stopped your test too soon. So the more numbers you have, the more visitors you have, the more accurate your data. And the way how we structure it and how you can structure it too is that we have some a Google sheet that we put in the number of visitors to have per month and how many visitors we need to have for our variant. So we want to see like 20% increase, and from 2% to 2.4, we can understand we need 19,000 per variant to see accurate data. And it's going to take us for 5.7 weeks to run. Now, I did show it specifically this way because we in general encourage people to do only on 50%, 50 visitors and above to start doing A/B test or running CRO, because you don't want to have one test waiting 1.5 months, even almost 2 months. It depends, but yeah, and it's too much. You cannot run like 1.5 months every one test. It's you don't gonna gain the benefits, and it can happen in those months, like 1.5 months, so many stuff. So let's say you started your testing start of October, and it's like mid-November, you finish the test. Sometimes based on like, let's say Black Friday, or like changes that you make to your sales during Black Friday and stuff like that can change the way how your visitors behaving. So that's like sometimes the test will not be 100% accurate. So just an example for that. Now, if you do have less than 50,000 visitors per month, what you can do, and what we did with some of our clients that has less, is you bundle up a bunch of like improvements into one A/B test. Now, the disadvantage of that, you don't know why you lost or you don't know why you won. So, for example, I'm gonna bundle upselling, I'm gonna put gifts, I'm gonna put urgency, I'm gonna improve my images, I'm gonna change the way how my product structure looking, just pushing everything together. Let's say you won, but you don't understand why did you won? Like what happened? What kind of like feature, what kind of thing that you made in your website made your visitor to buy? But still, you can improve your website like that, just like not properly in terms of like A/B testing in general. So after that, the end thing is basically test results. So you gather your data, you gather the tests, you're seeing what happened and understanding why the test won or why the test lost. You gathering all of the data, and not only like the general data, which is like on top saying improvement of 2%. I will give you an example. So let's say we tested a specific element where we see that the test in general numbers lost by 2%. But if we're gonna dive a little bit deeper, what we can find is that mobile is improved by 5%, but desktop is lost, not improved, like lost by 8%. So what you can do here is that, all right, let's just push live the mobile version and the desktop version. Let's see why they lost. Or if it's like the number is not so big there, just don't push the desktop, like because like every like 20% or 15% of your visitors usually from desktop. So that's in general something that you can look over when you go a little bit deeper. Now, this is basically it for the CRO part, and I wanna do another video for our next part, but that's it for now. And if you like it and something you want to implement for your store and want us to help you, just send us a message and I will gladly help you. Take care.